Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of the National Apprenticeship Week, Apprentice Nation into the booth. Today we are here to demystify the music industry and have a peek into some of the creative roles that contribute to the success of the industry. We want you to get involved, so I want you to take notes, get all your questions answered. Feel free to write them in the box just as we go through. Say hi if you haven't already. Tell us where you're from, what you've been listening to recently.
So today we're going to go through and introduce you to the creative industry as a whole, not just the music industry. We know there's a lot of things going on. We've got art, we've got gaming, and everything is very interesting nowadays, especially with like so much technology evolving like every week. So we've got to go through all of this with you. The creative industry is really versatile and it's a truly dynamic industry. And just to kind of help you to understand how diverse that is, even in the music industry itself, we're going to take you through a few of the different roles based off our panel today, and also just get you to figure out what exactly there is for you to actually take up, which jobs you can try and apply yourself into and find a career that's right for you. So first we're going to go through a quick poll and just let you decide what you think is out there. So how many existing roles do you think there are in the music industry? Poll's going to show up for you right now. Tell us. We're getting varied answers here. See, I can't tell you which way to go for that. You got to pick on your own. But there's a lot of different things. What number that is, that's kind of up to you to decide. But just have a think about it. And then within the music industry, there are so many individual roles that people take up. There's things that artists do themselves. So just like you've got the performances, you've got the singers, you've got the rappers, but then you've got all the people behind the stage, behind the scenes, and actually working day by day with those artists, with the record labels that actually get the artists to where they need to be, or get someone else actually, let's say the director of a music video, to where they need to be at the top of the charts and for you to see them on your screen every day. So we've got recruitment and talent, we've got marketing, agents, DJs, promoters. All of these people play vital roles to where anyone in the music industry actually has to go. So there's so many things for you to look into here, and we're going to try and give you a nice picture with our panel today so you can actually understand what's available to you and what you should be looking into.
Representing some of these roles, and they're going to share an insight into how the music industry impacts each other in their specialist areas and offer advice and guidance to those at the beginning of their careers. So what I'm going to do now is I have the amazing job of introducing each panelist, and I'm going to ask them what they do and why they decided to get involved today. So I'm going to start with you, Ramel London. Hello. Can you tell us who you are and why you decided to join us today?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ramel. I'm a TV presenter, radio presenter. I'm currently on Capital Extra every Saturday, 1 till 4 p.m. I'm also on a show on Sky Arts called Unmuted. We were on around Christmas time. Unfortunately, because of lockdown, we had to pause production, but hopefully we'll be back in the next few months, weeks. I don't know what to say about that, but in between, I also run a platform called The Mainstream, which is all about helping people figure out how or what they want to do in the creative industry, and that also comes in the form of a podcast. So I host the podcast, which has had guests like Mo Gilligan, the comedian, presenters Clara Ampho, Vic Hope, who are both on BBC Radio 1, loads of different creatives. So yeah, I'm really trying to help you know that there are loads of different ways you can get into the industry. But my first love was music. So that's why I'm really excited to talk on the panel today.
Thank you so much. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, Chloe, can you please introduce yourselves? Who are you? What do you do? And why have you decided to give us the pleasure of your company this evening?
Hi everyone, really lovely to kind of see you all. Yes, I'm Chloe. I'm currently a digital marketing assistant at Warner Music. I think in 2019 now, and I finished in September and have since been promoted to assistant. So I know exactly what it likes to be in that kind of place when you don't know how to get your foot in the door and you're still a bit in between. So I'm hoping that I can just give you a bit of the inspiration that I needed to get myself across the line.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chloe. And I'm now going to move on to Inda. Please tell us, who are you and why have you decided to brace us with your company this evening?
Hi guys, I'm Inda. I work across a few different companies, some that I've founded. Essentially, my role is around kind of music, gaming, and partnerships. So I work with different partners in the music industry and try and help them connect them to different opportunities, whether that's a brand opportunity or a gaming opportunity, for example, and then constantly kind of looking at new technology and how that can be used to create interesting experiences. And I'm here today. I guess it's always good to share knowledge and give back where you can.
Thank you so much. We're really excited to hear what you have to say. I'm sure everyone else is as well. And Natalie, hello Natalie. What do you do and why have you joined us this evening?
I work at BBC Sounds, which includes Radio 1 and 1Extra. So I produce like mixes. I have produced shows before, and I've been on the music teams where you will be a part of deciding what music goes on to like playlists. So every song that you hear going out in the daytime, we will sit around and decide on what we think should happen, and we should talk to artists, and we'll talk to labels, and we'll kind of get our heads together. And today, because I think when I was coming through, I didn't have a lot of people telling me where to go and what to do, and it was kind of a way of, you had to kind of navigate on your own and find your own way. So yeah, definitely I want to give back some knowledge and help people find routes if they want to get into music. If you've got a love for music, yeah, it's definitely good to give back.
Thank you so much. We're excited to hear your insight, Natalie. And last but not least, Anna. Hello, Anna. Can you tell us about your role and why you have joined the panel today?
I'm Anna and I head up the talent and music team at MTV. What that means is, like, me and my team are the first point of contact with the music industry, and we try and help and support. We kind of work with sort of record labels, managers, artists themselves, PR companies, agents, and we kind of pull together campaigns to help and support artists when they're releasing music, when they need some support as well. And we then make exclusive content that sits across our channels as well as our digital and social platforms. So we have 5 linear channels, but then we also kind of work on events and the social content as well. It'll be anything from kind of supporting videos and tracks to booking shows like Yo MTV Raps, booking events and working on global shows like the MTV EMAS and Unplugged shows as well. So really varied. I'm here today because I remember how hard it was to get my foot in the door and how little information I had. And I wish I'd been shown that slide that you showed beforehand with all the different areas that you can get into. I also kind of like to just keep in touch with the youth and our audience and make sure we're doing the right thing by them as well and providing the right opportunities.
Thank you so much. And your job sounds amazing. Even I wanted it when you're talking about it. So thank you.
As you can see, we've got a really great panel tonight. Exciting to have all of these people come in and provide you with information, little hidden gems on how to actually hack the music industry, get where you want to go, and just discover new things. So we want to make sure that you post your questions in the chat and get the best of this session. So don't be scared. Let us know what you want to find out from each of these people. Any question is a good question. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong question. So drop your questions in the chat and we're going to get through them, as many as we can tonight. But we're starting off with a few questions that we've prepared for the panel ourselves, and Jess is going to be here to start that off with Anna.
Yes, so Anna, I would love to know, how has the pandemic affected your day-to-day working environment? I guess it's probably a lot like this at the moment online.
Hi, can you hear me? So yeah, obviously the last year has been a real shock for everyone, hasn't it? We've really had to, I think we had to really adapt very quickly how we film our content and adapt our shows. We've actually managed to film most of the content that we need to for our channels from home. Yeah, so we've been sending out cameras to artists and guiding them from sort of a Zoom call as to sort of setting up their equipment, giving them backdrops. Sometimes we have been able to send one person to maybe help out with that, depending on the COVID restrictions and where we are. But yeah, we've adapted so that we film everything from home. The bigger events obviously have sort of suffered, and it's changed a lot for our event space. But our tentpole events like the EMAs and the VMAs, we've filmed everything remotely. All the performances have been done, as remote performances rather than in front of an audience, and we've had to package it together really creatively. So it's been I think we had to be really quick to adapt very quickly. With our digital space, obviously that's a little bit easier because you can film everything on the phone and kind of be quite creative. But I think everyone's just been really creative as to how you can still do some really good things even from home, or doing it in different ways, and then utilizing the content we've already got and sort of repurposing it in different ways. So, it's been a busy year still. We haven't, it hasn't stopped us. So.
That's so interesting. Thank you so much.
A quick question about how the pandemic has affected your day-to-day as well. So we want to know what's changed, what's stayed the same. Has there been growth?
I think a lot's changed because most of us have had to go and work from home, obviously. When it comes to, say, live shows on radio, it's minimal. So where a studio used to have 4, 5, 6 people in, then you'd have guests come in, or you'd have an artist come in. It's now just like the presenter, a producer standing outside the studio, and no guests. And a bit like with MTV, all of our live events has kind of shifted. And for a minute, I think everyone was a bit worried whether we'd have anything going on. But like you say, you get more creative with what you can do with technology. So when we put together our One Extra Live this year, we had it all done remotely, and we had like artists like Burna Boy performing from Nigeria, and it was like this cool kind of global collective that came together with everyone using technology. And I feel like that's been the main positive that's come out of it, is how people have got more creative. But obviously the negative side of it has been that you're not collaborating as much with people. You're not in chatting, going over things, looking at mixes, looking at artists together. It's all kind of, you've got to ring someone, which I find that's the most jarring part. But in general, yeah, it's just been more interesting than it has been kind of like a step back.
So when you say like the connections have maybe grown more because you've had to communicate more on that ground to get the things to go?
Yeah, in a way, like you suddenly realise you can't just shout to someone. You've got to go, oh, actually, I've got to call them and ask for this. Or it does make you think more as well about what you're putting out, especially with our kind of content. When you're looking at what everyone's going through right now, and it's not the best of times for a lot of people. So you kind of have to look at your content being more upbeat, more warm, more friendly, kind of, looking at the kind of music you're playing. Like, you don't want it to be too heavy sometimes, or too much like drill music, or you kind of just have to find the right balance and kind of reflect what the audience are going through and what they kind of need at that point. So yeah, it has been, it's been weird, but it's been good.
Great, thank you. I think the audience really love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And coming to you next from our London, as you work in the digital space, how has the pandemic influenced your platform and channel?
Yeah, definitely. So for radio, fortunately, the restrictions allowed us to go into radio as we are key workers. Love
that.
No, I really am grateful that I was able to continue my show from the studio, because it does actually make a big difference being in there technically, like making sure the sound quality is good. And yeah, I always love to make the most of it. If anyone follows me on social media, you'll see when I'm playing music, I'm actually dancing as well. So it was really good to be able to do that for the nation, provide some music. So fortunately, nothing really changed in that sense. But in terms of other ways that I work, hosting events, everything's digital, everything's virtual. So that interactivity has definitely changed, which is annoying. But, you know, we still have to carry on, bring the same energy, same good vibes as you guys are doing. So, yeah, that's what's kind of been a bit difficult, you know, being in front of a screen all day. But I think it's been a great way for everyone to connect online. Like, I think we're getting into the habit of sending an email, arranging a Zoom call. You know, I feel like I've been a lot more proactive instead of like waiting around for a meeting. Like in person, I'm like, let's connect. And I've been networking, and that's what I want people to do in this time. Like, you know, if you've got an idea, all of these people on the panel or any other ways that you can connect with people, reach out, because it's now or never. So yeah, I think it's really just pushed us to be a little bit more digitally, you know, connecting. Communication has changed completely. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then, Chloe, we've got a quick question for you. Since you work in the digital space, how has the pandemic influenced your platforms and the channels that all the artists that you work with would need to be using?
Yeah, I feel like before we even knew a pandemic was ever a thing, the kind of digital space is always changing, and there's always kind of new trends that we're kind of jumping on and head first and don't really know what we're going to do, but it kind of works out in the end. So I think we're always in digital kind of ready for a big curveball, but this was completely different ways that we were never expecting. I would probably say that the difficulty with it was that people are at home, people are kind of in their own space more, people are interested in things kind of, instead of just listening to a track, they want to know the story, they want to get the full picture. So for us, it was a really good opportunity to kind of give fans what they wanted and create new media. I mean, I think one of the biggest changes since, which kind of was before the pandemic, but TikTok, how huge that has suddenly become, and it's now a thing that's breaking heart artists here, there and everywhere. And I think the fact that we've got this completely new platform that we have to work on, it's so important to really like involve in every kind of state of it. So yeah, it's been a huge different changes, as it has been for everyone, and it's had times when it's been so challenging, but the new changes for us personally has come in really handy. Like, we're very fortunate to not be the kind of live area, which has just been dreadful. But it's been a difficult wave, but you know, I don't think it will ever stop with this digital space. We'll just keep evolving as humans.
Yeah, it's like an elevator that just keeps going up and up and up, right? Sweet.
Thank you so much. So Inda, I'm actually going to ask you the same question. How has the pandemic affected your work, your day-to-day?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, at first we didn't really know what to expect. But you know, part of our business is events, and we have artist management side of the business, which you can imagine, it's, you know, that they weren't touring anymore. And then we also run a major conference in Ibiza, which got cancelled. But essentially, we kind of used it as an opportunity very quickly to look at our business plan for the next 5 years, 10 years, and just reanalyze what we're trying to do as a company and what we're trying to achieve. Prior to the pandemic happening and lockdown, for example, you know, you're sort of just going as usual, like just doing the things that you're used to doing and running business as you know it. And this was a real moment to kind of, reanalyze things and look at what the future could be and how this is going to impact our business in a number of different ways, and where should we really be investing our time. So that was the first thing, and it was one of the best things that we did. We did it right at the start of the pandemic, and it's completely changed the whole direction of what we do as a company in some ways, and the direction we're going in and what we're trying to achieve. The other side of it is, you know, I do a lot of sales, so I'm speaking to clients a lot and trying to identify their challenges and how we can help them. And we thought, without having the ability to physically meet people, it's going to be very tough to sell things in some cases. And we realized that wasn't the case. Actually, it was much easier because you just kind of got straight to the point. A lot of clients would tell you their needs and, you know, would take what might be a 6-month sales process down to like 3 months. So, there's a lot of positives, and I think for many people it's about being creative and kind of looking at the future. Like we can't, when this is over, we can't go back to running business as we used to know it. I think that's the most important thing. We need to look at the whole ecosystem of music and everything else around it, and think like, what kind of business do we really want to build? And I feel like this is the moment that's happening. We're seeing it in a number of different ways.
Thank you so much. Yeah, amazing. I completely agree.
And now we've got another question for you, Anna, about how important you think transferable skills are in this industry, in the music industry. How important do you think the transferable skills are?
Yeah, really important. And I think don't underestimate how many skills you might have already or that you're doing that will be relevant for other jobs. And I mean, I've got examples of thinking I can't move from one job to the other, thinking I haven't got the right experience, but actually had very transferable skills. So I think it's just having that confidence and building up your skills and experience as much as you can.
Particular type of role at the moment, and they want to move into another role that's like maybe very different but still in the same industry, let's say music industry. They might be a producer and they actually want to move from producing into actually just working on marketing or handling some of the other areas that you can do. What would you say they need to maybe think about when trying to reapply those skills, or remembering that they actually have those skills there to reapply?
I'm going to give a personal example. So I actually started my music industry with an orchestra, working with an orchestra, and then I saw a job advertised. I was working for the BBC Concert Orchestra. There was a job advertised at Radio 1 events, and in my head I was like, oh, I could never go for that. I haven't got the right experience because I haven't been working in the youth field. And so initially in my head, I was like, I'm not going to go for this. And it wasn't until a good friend of mine said to me, you need to go for that. You'd be perfect for that. You love your dancing, you love music, you love DJs, you love this, you follow Radio 1, you listen to it all the time. So why wouldn't you go for it? And I went for it and I got the job. And I was really shocked because I never thought I would have those transferable skills from orchestra to Radio 1 events. So I think it's like when you're sort of organising events and have a passion for music, it will come through and that will sort of shine through. And I've gone from orchestra to Radio 1 to 1 Extra when we launched the station. So then went and moved over to there. Then from there moved over to MTV, from the UK team to international team to where I am now. Wow. So it's just really, I never would have planned that. And every time a move was sort of an opportunity was there, I always had doubt in myself. And then there was always something saying to me, just go for it and see what happens. And it's amazing how it didn't always happen that I got jobs that I went for, but it's amazing how you just don't know what path you can go on, and just be, just have confidence in yourself, go for stuff, grab opportunities. And it's amazing how your skills will shine through, your passion, your kind of your dedication, your inspiration to do stuff, that will all come through, and they're very transferable, and you'll just keep learning and growing. So
there, guys, sometimes it just takes a leap of faith. Might not be yours, might be your friend's faith in you, but that's what you got to do.
Absolutely. And Natalie, we're going to come to you next. So a lot of people look at other people in the music industry as extroverts, and I want to know, what do you do if you're quite shy or an introvert yet really talented and wanting to enter the industry?
I think from my experience, I think I'm quite extroverted. I guess I was quite up for being like, oh, I do this, oh, I'm really good at that. But I've got a lot of my friends that are completely the opposite. And I think the best thing you can do is hone in on your skill, find out exactly what you kind of want to do, or not even exactly, because you can have many skills. You don't have to be good at one thing. think when I started out, I remember thinking I've got to be really good at just songwriting or just producing. And then now I'm like, oh, I could just have multi-skills. You can apply them where you go. So I think hone in on what you really want to do and where you're most passionate. That's my first advice. And then kind of try and navigate your way to the place you want to be. So try and find like-minded people, other people that do what you do. Or if you look at things, companies or kind of artists or whatever kind of area of music or whatever industry you want to be in, if you look at the people that you admire the most, you can then find where they work, find who they work with, see what companies they're in, and then you can kind of reach out to them people. So you're kind of playing the game in the way of collaborating. So you're making sure that you kind of get better at what you're doing by talking to other people that are just like you. And you can do that online, especially with social media now. You can find anyone that does what you want to do, and you can find people that are doing really well at it, people that are just starting out at it, and you can then come together and get the skills you need by reaching out to the companies or the people or whatever employer you want to kind of take you on in that skill.
Thank you so much. That's really good insight. I hope some people really noted that down. Thank you.
And we've got a question for you, Ramel London. What would you advise someone trying to build their own brand? We talk a lot about personal branding at Apprentice Nation, and we think it's really important to get that across to our audience. So what do you think? What do you advise?
Yeah, I mean, I went to uni, I studied broadcast journalism. So that basically taught me how to get into TV and radio. But that is a very news-based course. So that's specifically if I want to be on ITV News, BBC, Sky News. And I was like, actually, I think I want to do presenting for music. So I kind of had to figure it out myself. And I basically just immersed myself in the music industry. I used to go to a lot of live music events. I used to go to a lot of just concerts, gigs, all that kind of stuff. And what I did, because I knew I wanted to be a presenter, I used to take a camera and vlog and interview people in the crowd and ask them how they're feeling and just create my own content, because I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to talk to people. I want to interview people. So I kind of thought, just do it. And then people kind of realized, oh, she's that girl that goes to events and interviews people. So it caught on very quickly. And then a lot of these events companies, again, because I was very, very, very forceful with it. I was like, hey, I'm a presenter, even though I'd done no presenting other than at uni. I basically just used to put myself forward for things. This would be free stuff. This would be internships, work experience. And I'd just be like, I really want to present. And eventually a lot of these music, producers, and when I say producers, I mean people that are creating music events and live event coordinators, they kind of realized this girl really, really loves music and the entertainment world. So why not give her a shot? So I ended up hosting events off the back of being such a fan. Again, that caught on. She's the girl that not only loves music, she'll host it, she'll do interviews. So slowly but surely, everything that I enjoyed doing came to fruition because I made it so transparent. And I think that's what I want to say to anybody out there. If you want to get into something, you have to live and breathe it. You literally have to put yourself forward for opportunities or create opportunities. I ended up eventually running my own live music nights, which I'd then film and put on YouTube. Then I created my own online live events or live shows where I'd interview people and do sit down chats. Again, it was just one of those things where I slowly but surely became what I wanted to be by just going for it, because you can't wait for opportunities. You literally have to make them sometimes. So that's what I say to people, instead of waiting around, hoping, wishing, put yourself out there, create. There's so much, like we've been saying, there's so many resources. I mean, now you've got YouTube, not only YouTube, you've got Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got Snapchat. Now there's TV shows on Snapchat now. And that's just, I don't know if anyone follows Steve-O the Madman. He just used to snap. Now he's got his own TV show. It's so easy to be able to just put yourself out there now. Not easy, but there's a lot more opportunities. So I just always say to people, go out there and just follow other people that inspire you, and you'll kind of see how their journey they map to themselves out. But most importantly, for that branding is all about just showing people who you are, what you love, what you believe in, and hopefully hard work, but also talent and having fun with it will really, really show.
Yeah, I mean, it has to, because you're spending all your time in that thing, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, all the opportunities, they're in your face. You've got Instagram. There's even platforms that aren't like the really commercial ones, but they're still trying to get you to where you need to be. So yeah, you got to explore some of those. Look out there on the internet. Thank you. That's a great answer there.
No worries.
So we've got another question for Chloe. Jess, we want to take this one?
Yeah, Chloe, I would love to know, when did you know that you wanted to work in the music industry?
I imagine this question is probably different for a lot of people, but for me personally, from a young age, my family completely not musical, so it was nothing inherited or anything. But probably throughout school, I was always playing, don't know which side, in band. I was always kind of, that was my love, and that was where my passion started. And I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, so I got a bit of inspiration from that as well. And yeah, I was really young, and I just really wanted to try things, kind of like you all, not knowing how or where or who to speak to. And my really biggest thing that kind of dragged me closer to wanting to do it was I did work experience at Warner. They all happened crazily. And when I was 16, and it was just a week, and it was like that little moment that gave me a really big push to like really give it my all and kind of make the most for it. I know like at the minute it's so difficult, and I don't know how, like I don't have any answers on how like you can get past that stage of doing experience and getting those connections at the minute. But I think a huge thing about it all is having that passion and drive. When I did my work experience at Warner, I mean, everybody would have their lunch break and it would be fine. And I decided to absolutely scoff down a sandwich, and I'd walk around the building and I'd just speak to random people, and it must have been so annoying when I think about it, but I'd go up to them and I'd be like, hey, I'm Chloe, I'm on work experience. What do you do? Tell me about your role. And I think the amount of people since coming back and now working there, I've messaged and kind of spoke to about it. It does make a huge impression on people. I think people, like, I love being like having a chat with someone, and I think reaching out to those individuals is such a good way forward. I mean, the biggest thing for me, I would say, is message people on LinkedIn. You know, like some people won't reply, and that's just different people, but the odd people will give you a bit of advice, give you a bit of help, and I think that'll really help. I know I really come off tangent from the actual question, but yeah, I was pretty young, but always passionate, always dedicated, and I think you guys are all here now, which shows your passion, shows your dedication. So it's just kind of honing in on that and really trying to find those gold mines.
Thank you so much. I think what you said is so relatable as well. So yeah, thank you.
A question for you. What does the future of the music industry look like to you post-pandemic? Like, what are you thinking is going to happen maybe 2 years, 5 years, or even 10 years from now? Oh, Endo, I think you're on mute.
I think, it's so broad in terms of where it could go. Like, generally speaking, things could just go back to normal. The music industry sometimes doesn't change as fast as the rest of the world in a lot of regards to how it's structured and managed. We've got a situation right now where the big streaming companies, for example, have a large monopoly on a portion of the music industry. So there's a lot of challenges. There's a few things I'll kind of mention. One, gaming is going to become increasingly more and more important. Yeah. The reason for that is the music industry at the moment, in terms of recorded music, doesn't make that much money. Most of the money is in touring, live shows, merchandise, for example. But gaming makes a lot of money from a number of different things, from in-app purchases and loads of different ways. The industry is worth significantly more. Last year we saw Travis Scott perform in Fortnite. A very interesting example of how music and gaming are coming together. I think we will see that integration happen even further, because what's happening with gaming, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know, gaming is becoming quite creator friendly. Like, there's games like Roblox, for example, Minecraft, and many others that are basically user generated platforms. They don't really have a game per se. You kind of create the game within the world yourself. And I think we're going to see the music industry start adopting these tools where you don't necessarily need to have a huge gaming team around you to build gaming experiences. You could launch your new album in a virtual world with 5 people and maybe even less than that. And I really believe that's where a big part of the music industry will start going, is more of these kind of interactive, gamified experiences. The other thing which is huge, and there's a big trend towards it, is something called blockchain. I'm sure some people might have heard of like Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies. The potential of what blockchain can do to transform the whole music industry in terms of the way money is distributed between the owner of the song and the people who helped create it, for example, and the label, could basically be one of the biggest revolutions the music industry has seen. It hasn't happened yet, and it's been something that people have been talking about, but we've seen a lot of technologies and we're involved with a few different things that I feel could be very interesting. So if I was to tell someone just coming into the music industry now what you should be looking at, I would say look at gaming and look at things like the Unreal Engine is what it's called. Look at those kind of platforms and understand what's happening there. And then I'd also say look at something called decentralization and blockchain and what that means for the music industry. If you have a good understanding of those two things, you might have a very interesting vision of where the future of the industry can go, to putting power back into the hands of the artists, which is really the most important thing that needs to happen. I feel like that's completely disappeared.
Yeah, I think, it's very important, especially when we're all online. So yeah, thank you for that question, for that answer to that question. Really helpful. Gaming especially has had a lot of growth with the music industry. So it's really nice to hear about that, especially based off your background in the industry. We're going to take it over to the audience now, because there's been so many questions. We want to make sure that our amazing panel tonight can do their best to answer those questions and give you guys all the juicy information you need to know to take your career a bit further. So Jess, let's pick through some of these over here.
I've gone right to the top. Can I just say thank you so much for all your questions, because I think the worst thing about Q&A is we don't have any, and I think actually we might have too many. So let's go with this one first. This is for you, Anna. How did you manage to get your foot in the door?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. So I got my foot in the door. So it was really hard. I did do a music degree. I wasn't going to do a music degree. I was going to do law, and I changed to music because I was so passionate about music. And I just couldn't let it go. So I changed literally the week before I went to university, did music, loved it. Came back and I didn't have a clue where to start looking, what to start looking at. All I knew, I wanted to do something related to music. So at the time, we didn't have the wealth of information that is available now back then. So I've been in the industry for quite a while now. So I just sort of looked and thought, where can I find anything related with music, whether it was a studio, a venue that held music events, a broadcaster, orchestras, ensembles. And I wrote a letter, just probably about 100 letters out, just saying, I want to get some experience. Can you help me? Can you give me any information? Got hardly any responses at all. It was devastating, really soul destroying. So I kind of, understand how hard it can be. And I managed to get, I did get a lucky strike though, which was at the BBC Concert Orchestra. The assistant there was going on a placement for 3 months, and my letter arrived just at the right time, where he was looking for somebody to help him with the paperwork, with the finances. He had some events planned that he needed some help on. My letter arrived. He was like, okay, you've got this, and this. He ticked a lot of boxes from my CV. He called me in for a chat, and he was like, I need you to start straight away, and I was like, so happy.
Wow.
And so I had 3 months, and I just utilized those 3 months so much. I grabbed every opportunity. I spoke to everyone I could. I showed my passion. I showed my excitement. I think they were quite shocked at how excited I was to be there. And then my contract got renewed for 3 months more. So I had 6 months. Which was great, because then it gave me 6 months to then go out to other places and say I've got 6 months experience. But then in the end, I managed to get a permanent job at the BBC there. And then from there, I kind of again, grabbed every opportunity I could to sort of climb and get more experience as I went along. So it is hard. And I think persistence, don't give up, keep trying. You know, you may apply somewhere one time and it might not be the right time, but you might apply a few months later and things have shifted. So it's kind of, don't give up on it and keep your, you know, your options open. Don't be too sort of narrow-minded as to, you know, you obviously have an area you want to go in, and that's fine, but also it's amazing how you can start in one area and then cross into other areas. So just keep going for it and let your passion come through, because if people see that, then, you know, that is priceless. So
thank you so much. That just goes to show you never know what opportunities are out there when you just go for it at the right time. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key messages from today. Like, there's opportunities all in front of you.
Just
Put yourself out there. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's go for another question. Thank you so much, Anna, for that answer. Chloe, I've got a question for you. What was the apprenticeship process like for your role?
It was amazing. I worked full time, and then about once a month.
Oh, seem to have lost Chloe. Jess, you still here? Oh, Chloe,
We're back.
you back?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Okay, yeah, we can hear you. We can see you.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Should I just start from the start? Where did I get to?
Yes. Yeah, let's start from the top. Sorry.
Sure, sorry everyone. So yeah, digital marketing apprenticeship at Warner Music. I kind of worked full time, really full on, but exciting, obviously. And then once a month, I would go into the apprenticeship company, learn kind of all the skills that I needed to, all the tools, and then had an assignment every month, and then it all worked out. Had exams at the end. It was very intense. I mean, it's not an easy thing to kind of juggle that workload as well as the apprenticeship work, but it's so important that I found, because I started university and I dropped out, so I'm sure there's lots of people kind of unknowing what kind of route they want to take. University just personally wasn't for me. I found it difficult, and not really difficult actually, just completely different. I was very much I didn't have a lot of work to do, and I'm a huge work. I really want to like get involved, so kind of that working really helped me personally, and it was very full packed. Obviously, really great opportunity, but I think the difference with apprenticeship and university is that you're really hands-on. You're getting those contacts, you're earning money, and you're learning all the skills at the same time. Everything that I was doing learning at the apprenticeship, I was just putting into my work anyway, so it kind of felt like I was just working but kind of giving that help throughout. So yeah, I think it was about 18 months long. It really, like, good length, gave me all the tools. I had a great line manager who really benefited and really like helped me grow as much as I can. But I would really recommend apprenticeships to anyone kind of and ahhing about going down that kind of industry route. It doesn't even have to be music, could be anything. But I think it's just to look into and know about, I think it's such a cool thing.
Great, thank you. That's really helpful. We'd love for you guys to go and sign up for apprenticeships. There's so many out there. BT offers some, and our partner BT and also our partner Multiverse have great apprenticeships that you can take up. So head to our website, apprenticenation.co.uk, and check those out. If you want to get another question, we've got one from Hugh.
Oh, sorry,
I got one from Amy here as well.
Yes,
let's do this one.
So this is a really good one. It says, do you think applying to entry-level jobs as well as internships and apprenticeships is a good thing to do? Natalie, I'm going to head this one to you because I think you'll be a great person answering this. Amy says, as a person applying to both, the amount of people applying is insane. How do I stand out? How would you answer that, Natalie?
How do you stand out? It's mainly about showing your passion on the page and trying to show that passion in the most concise way possible. Don't don't try and be something you're not. Don't try and act like you can do something you can't. Just showcase that you're going to learn, that you have a desire to be in that industry, and that you're willing to kind of hone in on the craft as well as you can. I think definitely be yourself in everything you do. I think it is 100% a good thing to do, 100%. Because when I came through, I wasn't even looking for the apprenticeship scheme at all. I was looking at doing something with BBC Three, and when I realised it existed, then I went through that process. I couldn't believe how good it was, and how many people come through it, and how many people that I now know in the industry have come through apprenticeship schemes. So I 100% think, don't be put off by how many people are going for it. Don't be put off that it makes you feel insecure or like you're not good enough. 100%, just keep applying. Even if it's a no the first time, go back and just keep knocking on the doors. Literally, I know it sounds really old school to say that, but if you keep knocking, the door will definitely open. But yeah, just highlight your passion, highlight what you want to learn, highlight what you have learned, and just be yourself, and I'm sure it will work out 100%.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Okay, over to you, Tarriq.
Another question here that we want Ramel, and I think actually Anna might be able to answer this for us as well. So let's get both of you on here. The question is from Simran: what advice will you give to someone that wants to get into the music industry but are a rapper and a singer? So I know you, Ramel, you've met quite a lot of those people. So what would you say?
Yeah, I think there's definitely opportunities to move from being an artist to maybe an artist manager. You can support with artist development. You could support with radio plugging or PR, because I've witnessed a lot of artists become great managers, become great coordinators. And I think it's, over the time, sometimes they've been independent and they've just learned and picked up so many skills. Maybe they start running events because they might have created their own live night, or, I've seen so many artists pick up additional skills because they might not have had the funds to build a team. So they just done it themselves and they've gone on to do amazing things. So think about what other skills you have. You might be great at social media because you went from 100 followers to 100,000 followers. Who knows? That means you're good at marketing. That means you're good at, all kinds of creative tools. Some people make their own flyers. That means you're a graphic designer. I know so many people who have literally picked up additional jobs from being an artist. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good artist because you do all these other things. It's just you can wear many hats and be a creative at the same time.
Yeah, and Anna, would you say there's any way for someone who is already already a singer, they're already a rapper, they want to maybe put a bit more into that, they want to get more out of what they're doing, promote themselves a bit more? You have any tips that you think for them to get into that music industry side of things?
I think you've got to know who you represent and what you represent, so that you can portray yourself in the right way to the audience. There's nothing worse than sort of not really understanding who you are, where you're trying to go, and that will change as well as you develop. But it's kind of being sure about your own brand and then trying to maximize that in the right way. So you can do that through socials, on SoundCloud, through doing content, blogs. There's different ways you can kind of showcase yourself and get yourself out there. But it's just being true to yourself. Who do you want to be? How do you want other people to perceive you? What is your identity, your brand, and what kind of message are you trying to portray? So you've got to kind of get those in line so that then you can go out there confidently and have a real purpose. So, but yeah, it's and there's definitely other things you can do to maximize your experience, your knowledge, to then help you to do even more and better. It's all kind of quite interrelatable these days. So
great, thank you Anna, thank you Ramel for both of those answers. Jess, we've got one that I think we can pass over to Inda. You want to have a go at this one?
Yeah, so Inda, I would love to know, what's this one? Is anyone using Twitch for music?
Yes. Yeah. So the question is, anyone using Twitch for music? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's huge at the moment in the music industry. There is a certain challenge in terms of using Twitch because they don't have the licenses required to kind of play certain music. So what you do get sometimes is the videos being taken down, but a lot of people are using them for live, where that doesn't happen at the moment. There's a huge audience there. I think, as an artist, DJ, performer, it makes a lot of sense to build a Twitch strategy. And there's definitely a community there in comparison to, with Facebook, where live performances are being taken down. It depends if you're performing your own music or performing someone else's music. That's the real big kind of thing to figure out. But as an artist, I would probably say the best thing to do is experiment with different platforms and then try and build up some consistency across the board. Use Twitch, use YouTube, use a number of different tools out there and just see what kind of resonates with your audience. But most importantly, as long as it's consistent, you should be able to start measuring and tracking the results. And that's really the kind of key thing, is whatever you do, if you can measure the success of it in some way, what was it, you tried to get a number of followers, or was it the people viewing or comments, have that kind of KPI or objective, and then just track your growth, and you'll see what's working and how you can continue improving it.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the panelists for all your contributions. You've been amazing. And I appreciate that there were so many more questions in the chat, but it just goes to show how brilliant our panelists are. And I hope you're able to sort of connect with them on social media if you want to, give them a follow, give them some support. So just to let you know, if you want to delve into more on this subject, we have some recommended short sets available to access from a range of extensive learning modules. So we have Demystifying the Music Industry, How to Set Smart Goals, Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone, and Personal Branding. If you visit apprenticenation.co.uk, it is our one-stop shop for all Apprentice Nation has to offer. It includes what you need to do to sign up to a mentoring session with an established industry leader. So there are really some amazing opportunities for you. And also tomorrow, we have an amazing additional session for you. We have Into the Brief, Demystifying Wellbeing. So please sign up, come along, have a great time like you had tonight, unwind, reflect, and hear directly from Mind and Multiverse.
So coming this spring, we actually have new content over at Apprentice Nation. There's going to be a lot of new artists, new modules for learning all of this great information that's going to help you find the career you love. And on top of that, there's going to be amazing rewards that will just push you along the way and get you into places you wouldn't even think about, such as our mentor sessions. We have one-to-one mentor sessions with some of the people that are actually on the panel right now, such as Ramel London. So make sure you join Apprentice Nation at apprenticenation.co.uk. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, whichever place you want to be, and you'll be one of the first people to know about what's coming in the spring. And just before you go, we know that we didn't get to answer all of your questions, but if you would go and fill out this reactionnaire that we have, it's really helpful. It gives us feedback on what we did and lets us know what you want to hear more of from us. And for this specific reactionnaire, you're going to be entered into a prize draw for Apprentice Nation merchandise. So come on, click that button, fill out the questions, tell us what you're interested in, tell us how you found this event, and make sure you share that with your friends as well. So we have a lot of great stuff in the works.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending.
Yeah, thank
Jess,
you so much. I just want to say also, thank you for sitting there, collaborating with us, talking to us, and also our amazing panelists. Thank you so much for your time. You are amazing people, pioneering in the industry, and it's been amazing to have you here this evening. So thank you again.
Yeah, we'd recommend, now that you know these people's names, you go out there, you look for them, you do some networking.
Yes.
See if you can get more advice from other things that they've been doing, either in their work or some of their posts that they've been doing, maybe other events like ours. So just go out there, do what you need to do, get yourself into the music industry. Don't miss out. The opportunities are all in front of you.
We're excited to see you next, up and coming. See you on TV, behind our screens, whatever it is. And please do take action some of the advice you got here tonight, because it has been absolutely amazing. I think you'd agree.